Somebody says, can you speak about the red star that's able to be seen on occasion? Well, you have two big red objects in the sky right now. But one object is about as big as the moon. You can't miss that one. We're just not in alignment to see it. And it has somewhat of a strange orbit right now. All things will align, and believe me, there will. I said this before, I'll say it again. You might want to have it in your mind that if you see a second moon in the sky, it'll be almost like cinnamon and concrete, that type color, cinnamon and concrete. Kind of some beach sand, that beach sand khaki color in between. But if you see that, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. The planets are not going to keep their same orbits. They're not. We're going to go have a meteor storm, not shower. A shower is something that harmlessly goes by, right? And based on the frequency of what passes, we may have an impact here and there, atmospheric breaches, so on and so forth. A meteor storm is when we have a lot of atmospheric breaches, and all of them are headed to the ground to start fires everywhere. We're going to see that. We can't dodge what we're flying into. In terms of space, because it's so vast, you could call it dust. But that dust, each dust particle in space, probably has an average size of the smallest pieces would be an SUV. It'd be the smallest pieces. So when they hit the atmosphere and break up, they're going to cause fires all over the place, right? It's going to stink too. Just in case you didn't know that. It's going to smell like sewage a lot. Bad sewage. Lots of sulfur is coming. Lots of it. And there are signs pointing towards that. Because if a doom was coming to this planet, and mankind has built countless probes and everything else to see out there in space, and they would be making preparations for it, right? And if they were making preparations to survive, they would have to go into real robust places that can withstand that type of bombardment. Historically, the only places that have withstood that type of bombardment are those places deep under the earth. And if that is the case, then it takes about 4 years to transition from the surface of the earth inside the earth. Does anybody know why? You can't just go down into the depths of the earth and start living your life. You have to get used to the gases, right? There are pressure differentials at each layer that you go down to. You have to be acclimated to pressure differences, to different types of smells. Your digestive tract has to be acclimated. Your lungs have to be acclimated to the different pressures, right? So it takes about 4 years for a person to transition from topside living to underground living. And once you go down, you cannot come back up to the surface, which means you wouldn't see the important people anymore. You would see a bunch of actors and people who don't really belong in their roles all over the earth. That's what you would see. People you would never select to be leaders, you would then see leaders. Why? Because all the serious people would have been collected, accounted for, and taken underground. That's a 4-year process. And by the way, what do you see right now on the surface of the earth? What do you see in comparison to what we had 20 years ago? What do you see on the surface of the earth? You see a lot of police stories, don't you? Bad policemen. Why? Why? Why do we see a bunch of bad politicians, bad policemen, bad congressmen, bad this person, and some of those folks who are stubborn that nobody ever wanted to deal with, they're old now. They have to retire. They're going to be forced to retire out of all their roles on the earth. But what happened to the ones that can make things happen? What happened to the ones that could actually provide good leadership? You don't see them anymore, do you? You don't see them. They're gone. The serious people are gone, and it looks like a bunch of acting. It does. If you can remember that, you'll understand what's going on. You will. Of course, not too many. A person can't just come up and confirm to you, yeah, those people went underground. They can't do that. Observe. Just observe. So all you have to do is observe. And you'll see a certain type person is left behind. right? But that all the ones who were serious about what they were doing, they're being protected, they're taken down, right? So you'll just see that. And what's left over, ultimately, people are going to have to fend for themselves. It'll become very chaotic, very, very chaotic. So hopefully you guys, when you, because these are serious situations, very serious situations. And of course, when you have the power structure of something removed, the other pieces, they start doing what they want to do. That's what they do. So you see vast changes in the earth. You do. Vast changes. Not for the betterment of the people. Almost experimentally, you see changes happening on the earth. Because the responsible people who did what they did for the sake of the people who would risk their lives for you and I, right? Those are the serious people. They have already gone somewhere else. And what's left over? Well, a lot of prideful individuals, and, individuals that don't really care, and actors in a lot of cases. Anyway, you all see that, right? What else do we have? Somebody says it's definitely comedy. You better believe it. I think some of the major changes we're going to start seeing almost immediately. Listen, I'm not comfortable saying that. I'm not. But it's also something I can't ignore. I can't.